Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shabareesh Nair. It's my honor and privilege to be a part of this August gathering. And I'm looking forward in presenting what my views are on hydrogen and also what we as a company are dwelling into. Firstly, let me congratulate the entire team of the conference that it has been a really engaging session until now. Even the introductory session was very engaging and very wise words coming from the industry stalwarts, and might be my presentation can carry a little bit of insight on that also. So if I talk about us as a company, we are a Spanish multinational. The name is TUBACEX. And when I talk about energy transition, I think there is no better term for us than we are also transiting. If I talk about the history of TUBACEX, we have been delivering our solutions to the Indian market for the last 40 years. And all the tubes that we were supplying were going to the coal-fired boilers. So when you talk about transition, we also as a company are transiting into the greener area. It's not that we are going to stop our supplies for the coal-fired power plants, but there we talk about localization. So end of the day, when I talk about the energy transition, and I read this in one of the reports, that it is pivoting against three main triangles. You talk about energy security, you talk about sustainability, and you talk about affordability. So this is what I think the 3 points that everyone was talking about since morning. And that is where overall the cups of the transition comes into. As TUBACEX, we are a fully integrated tubular systems company. We are having high precision machine components. We also deliver solutions that eventually help in global logistics. And lastly, we have high value personalized services that help our customers to dwell into this value chain. This is what we are as a group. So we are a large multinational with around 20 plants globally. We have 12 service centers, and then we have around 2,300 employees. This is what we have been catering to various industries. So traditionally, we come from a very strong oil and gas and I'll say more on the power side. But we are also evolving. So you can see the newer technologies that we're developing, and one of them is towards hydrogen. This is the slide that I normally start my presentation with on hydrogen. I think not a new element for everyone. It's quite well known, quite varied. And today I think the earlier guest spoke about hydrogen not only being an element, it's also a gas, it's an energy source, and also it's an energy carrier. So hydrogen as an element is not new. It was founded way back. But the usage of hydrogen is what has become more and more spoken about, and that's because it helps in getting this green part of it. So if I talk about the three main types of hydrogen, we all know this. We talk about number of colors. Every conference I go, I get a new color. So, but I'll limit it to the three main colors that we speak about. We speak about gray hydrogen. We talk about blue hydrogen, where the carbon has been captured. And then finally, we have the green hydrogen, the flavor of the event. If we summarize the current interest, why hydrogen as an energy source is getting more and more popularized, it is eventually getting into these four baskets. So we talk about the fluctuating energy which has to be stored. That is one of the main criteria, I think, which we have been speaking about. The pressure to reduce the emissions from mobility. That's again one area where we are getting into the transition towards hydrogen. The existing infrastructure, which can be utilized, let's say, in a way. Of course, there's a lot of thought going on around that, but it can still be looked into. And then, of course, there's a large cost involved in the infrastructure. So if we have something that is existing, it can be used. So if I see the journey towards hydrogen, these are the four main cups that are getting us into this journey. This is a chart which is very well known. Again, we have different colors over here. But if I talk about as TUBACEX, we are delivering our solutions for all these areas in the value chain. Of course, the green is what is the main focus area, but then we are seeing solutions that have been derived towards all the other areas also. This is what I derived from one of the reports, wherein this is the global expected demand for hydrogen, where if you see it is almost 50-50. If we go up to 2050, 50% of it will be electrolyzer demand, and 50% will come from the thermochemical processes. If I have to give a thought on this, what we at TUBACEX feel is that both of these journeys will be important. End of the day, hydrogen as an energy carrier or energy source is more important. The colors are important for the initial push, but then eventually all these technologies must coexist depending upon the need that is there for hydrogen. So if I talk about the electrolyzer mode, the capex per kilowatt has to be significantly reduced. The technologies in this area are very early in its development, so of course it requires a lot of push towards developing it. Manufacturing capacity also has to be developed, which is right now a bit of a challenge, and localization comes along with that. So that's again a very important aspect which has to be addressed. We also have to look into getting into serial production. If we talk about the electrolyzer capacities and the way we need to move, it also has to be produced in a more serial way of production, which requires new industrial concepts. And the guest in the morning also spoke about this. So I think these are areas which are being discussed now, which need more deliberation. And of course, we need large amount of electricity at a very low cost, which will eventually drive this transition. If I talk about the conventional process, a mature technology has to be decarbonized. That is where you'll come across it being more and more in use, the hydrogen, the blue hydrogen part of it. CCS will be a must, and that is where I think, end of the day, a drive towards getting these technologies more mature will come into picture. There are a lot of emerging technologies. I also have a slide about what technology we have developed. So gasification, pyrolysis, these technologies also coming up into the flavor. There are new feedstocks which are required. If you talk about the West, you're talking about a lot of carbon emissions reduction coming in. So you need to have new feedstocks. You need to have waste, you need to have biomass. So all this will become a feedstock for eventually producing hydrogen. And we need to have better materials. So we come from a strong material science background. So we need to have more resistance materials which will take care of these kind of, I'll say, very difficult services. So end of the day, if I have to summarize this slide, every company has to adapt to these new scenarios if they need to produce solutions for I will say, attending this global demand. This is a slide which I have taken from one more presentation. Again, this is not new for everyone. It's coming from basically the data. So in India, we talk about a huge jump in the green hydrogen production. And there's also a very, I will say, good look towards the blue hydrogen part. So if we can have technologies that we can develop towards carbon capture, we also talk about a transition towards blue hydrogen. And there's a lot of work that is happening towards this area, and companies are working in this direction also. So if I talk about the regional demand, let's say if we talk about India per se, India is expected to play a very important role in this transition. If I talk about the graph on the extreme left, 4.1% of our energy needs will come from hydrogen. So it's going to be the fourth, and it's going to be a very significant portion of the energy use. And if I talk about the plans that we hear about the capacity, we talk about 2030, 18 gigawatt. Then we go to almost 80, and then we talk about 260. Now, this is not going to happen with the same way that we are going to produce, or the equipment, or the ecosystem coming for that. So there is a ramp up that has been seen after 2030, as we see in the rest of the world. So this justifies a need for having gigafactories. And we are talking about roughly 12 gigawatt per year up to 2040. So we need to have several gigafactories which are going to support this green hydrogen drive, and eventually that will require an ecosystem to develop for this. If I talk about the scale, as in there is a need for scaling the electrolyzer capacity, and in this area we talk about the cost coming in. So if I split the electrolyzer into two parts, we have the stack and we have the BOP. The cost of the BOP is also very, very relevant if we talk about, when you talk about these large capacities. And we at TUBACEX feel that the way the production is right now looked into, it's on a very small scale or in an R&D way. So we need to have solutions that will help you to, let's say, make these products in a far more industrialized, I'll say, way of production. So this will also ensure that you have a cost optimization coming in from the overall design of the electrolyzer. And on the bottom part, you see a kind of a model that we have developed, wherein it's a kind of a just-in-time supply. Let's say the electrolyzer manufacturer focuses on the stack of the system, and the BOP, a certain part of it is, let's say, outsourced to certain other entities who can produce it for you. That will ensure that you have the required quality maintained, and eventually you can also focus on the heart, which is a stack. So with this kind of a concept, we feel that this could help in, let's say, commercializing this need in a much larger way and in the way that we intend to do it. This is one more area that we are working upon. So we traditionally come from a tubular system background, but then we also have developed certain technologies. This is a demonstration plant that we intend to bring up in Spain, in a place called Victoria. It's a demo plant. However, the idea is that with the waste that we generate in this city, we produce hydrogen. We come from a very strong material science background, as I mentioned earlier. So we are developing materials that can withstand these kind of, I'll say, aggressive conditions. And eventually, you can utilize this as a technology source for producing hydrogen. We have got support from the European Innovation Fund for developing this technology. And we have to have a demo plant set up by 2024. So this also, in a way, addresses the global challenge of land waste or landfill waste. That's, in a way, our contribution towards the green drive. Apart from this, we are also decarbonizing our own operations. So we come from, or we are a steel company. So a lot of the processes that we work on involve a lot of carbon. So end of the day, the green steel aspect, which was spoken about in the morning, we also looking into addressing those by adding in, let's say, hydrogen as a use into our own steel making. So that also is our contribution towards delivering solutions for the green evolution. So this brings to the last slide of mine. So as I mentioned earlier, the hydrogen economy is just starting. There are many open issues which are there, which needs to be addressed, and we need to speak about it. We talk about cost, we talk about regulation. In India, we talk about safety, not only in India, but everywhere, but here we need some standards for safety, the industrial capacity, the scale at which we are going to produce. This will require that we need to have industrialized capacities for that. We see a significant acceleration in the demand beyond 2030, and it is the right time to position. So if we have the right technologies, as spoken earlier, developed, we can position us accordingly. There are many existing and emerging technologies, and it is not only electrolyzers that will play a role, but also these new technologies which will help us to achieve this, I'll say, transition. Renewables and circular economy are very key for this change, and here we need massive investments. There are new and innovative business practices which will be required here. Like I mentioned about our industrial concept of electrolyzer manufacturing, this also will play a very important role in ensuring that we achieve this green wave. And lastly, at TUBACEX, we have been in the forefront of this technology. We have materials, we have solutions, we have a lot of other products that we have developed for this industry, which we are open to discuss, and we can share that with you as and when required. This is what we intend to do. We intend to have the green industry happen, and we all are a part of it. With this, I complete my presentation. Thank you for your time.